everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. It's Janae Canis and I'm here today with another Plant Paradox and ApoE4 compliant recipe for you. I made this for dinner the other night and posted a picture of it on Facebook, and you guys asked me for a video, so here it is. This is the lineup of what you're going to need. I used 2 small heads of cauliflower. So what's going to go in to be riced into the food processor is somewhere between 3 and 4 cups. Now, if you don't have a food processor, I know a lot of you don't, all you need is a box grater, and you just grate the cauliflower, and that'll rice it perfectly. You don't really need any fancy machinery. We also have about 1.5 cups of just really small florets. They're going to be added to boiling water and reserved to add later to the rice, so it has a little bit more texture. That makes it a little more interesting. So the lineup is half an onion chopped, some mint leaves, a tablespoon of brown mustard seeds. You can use yellow, whatever you have, it works fine. A teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of ground cinnamon. Usually when I make this recipe, when I originally made this recipe, it was with rice, white rice, and I used cinnamon sticks in it. But as you know, cauliflower rice doesn't cook nearly as long as white rice does. So I've tried it with the cinnamon sticks, and it just, it doesn't really give it much flavor. Anyway, it's not very much. It's probably 1/8 of a teaspoon, just a tiny bit. And then we have 3 whole cloves of garlic chopped, and 1/4 cup of pine nuts that I previously toasted. Now, if you don't like pine nuts, don't worry. You can use blanched almonds, you can use macadamia nuts, any of the nuts that are on the compliant list, feel free to use those, whatever floats your boat. When we finish everything, I forgot, we will salt to taste. We have about 1 teaspoon of grated fresh ginger, and we have about 1/2 cup of chopped cilantro that will be used as a garnish at the end. Okay, let's get going. We're going to start with using the food processor. I hope it isn't too noisy for you. We'll do this in 2 batches. Okay, here we go. We're just going to pulse this. It doesn't take very long. We don't want the rice to be too small, or it has no texture. That looks good to me. And you know what? One tip is to keep the, forgot to take the lid off. One tip is to cut the core out of it, because if you try and food process the core and the florets together, you don't end up with a very consistent size. The florets get really tiny, so you don't really want that. Okay, now we'll quickly do the other half. I always forget which way this thing goes. Okay, here we go. We're on. Just keep your eye on it so it doesn't get too small. Better to go a little bit slow than to put it on all the way in the on position, and then the next thing you know, you got mush. Nope, I always forget the top. Okay, here we go. So that part is all done. Get this out of the bowl. And we're going to now go over to the oven and blanch or lightly cook our florets that are going to be added later. We're going to make those to their fork tender, and then in boiling salted water, and then we'll take a slotted spoon and remove those. And we'll hold on to some of that water because we may use a little bit of that for the cauliflower rice. Okay. All right, now we have a saucepan with boiling salted water, and we're going to add the small florets to the. Whoop. Oh, there's one for Molly. I guess she didn't. Oh, she missed that. That's funny. Okay, we're going to cook that until it's fork tender, and then we're going to reserve it. Won't take very long. Cauliflower cooks pretty darn fast. Okay, we're just about there. This cauliflower is Still a little bit firm, but you know what? I'm going to pull it out now because it's still going to cook a little bit with the rice. So let me pull that out. And we're going to reserve this in a dish to add later at the end. Get out of there. Okay, now we're going to reserve this water. All right, we're going to add about 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil, all extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to start cooking the spices. All right, we're going to start off with the mustard seeds. We're going to put those in and get them. Oh, I thought my flame was on. We have to wait for this to come up to temperature. I thought I was already there. We're going to cook those mustard seeds until they start to pop a bit. And then we'll add in some of the other things. You want to cook the spices and the mustard seeds a little bit so they have a more mellow flavor. You can see I've used this spatula to make this dish before. It is all stained yellow from the turmeric. Okay, it's starting to come up to temperature now. Generally, you want to get your oil hot first. I thought mine was, but it'll still be fine. So in a few minutes, those mustard seeds are going to start to pop a bit. And when they do, we're going to add the 1/2 cup of onion. And today I'm just going to use some mint leaves. Normally I get some Indian leaves from the, not Indian leaves, some curry leaves from the Indian store. But I don't have any of those today. And that store is not real close to me. So we're going to substitute. Another thing you can actually substitute with are bay leaves. You can cook the bay leaf in here and then pull it out. Okay, here you can hear them starting to pop a little bit. We'll give it another second or so and then we'll add the onion. There they go. Okay, I'm going to turn down the flame a bit. Add the 1/2 cup of onion and the mint. Keep stirring. Now we're going to add in the turmeric and the pinch of cinnamon. And we want to get those spices nice and cooked. It smells so good. Now we're going to add the garlic. That's 3 cloves of garlic, chopped. And now we're going to add the rice cauliflower. Give this a good stir. Incorporate all the spices with the cauliflower. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to this. Not too much. We'll taste it again at the end. You can always add more salt, but you sure can't take it out. Oh, this is so aromatic. It's a yummy dish. We generally serve this with a nice salad and nuts, and that's sort of a meat-free dinner for us. We try not to eat meat every night of the week. We don't actually eat it every night of the week. Maybe two, maybe 3 nights do we eat some type of fish, but the rest of the time it's pretty much vegetarian with nuts or something like that as protein. Okay, now what we're going to do is take a little bit of that reserved boiling water from the cauliflower because it's salted and has a little bit of flavor, and we're going to add that to the cauliflower to help it cook along. And we're going to cover it for a few minutes. It'll cook somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. Check it then, and then you can taste it and see how it's progressing. You don't want it overcooked, but you don't want it undercooked either. So you just have to keep your eye on it, and then once it gets almost to the finished point, we'll add in the florets, and we'll adjust our seasonings if we need to then. I'm just going to quickly check the water content, make sure that we have enough in here. Now you can hear that it's starting to sizzle already, and it's not been very long, just about a minute and a half or so. And you know what, it feels fairly soft to me, so I'm going to just hold off on adding any more liquid for a few minutes. Okay, now we just have to let it rest for a few minutes. All right, you know what? I think we're ready to check this again. Let's open this up. Oh yeah, that's looking really good. Let me give it a quick taste. Let me get a spoon. Let's see how this is. You know what? It's still al dente, so that's perfect. Now's the time we're going to add in the florets. These give it a little texture, almost like it has potato in it. That's what I like about it. So we're going to put those in, stir that around a bit, and I am going to add a little bit more liquid, but not much, because one thing I do not like is mushy cauliflower rice. We want it to be as similar to real rice as possible. So just a hair here. And let's cover it up again for another minute. I think it's going to need a tiny bit of salt. Oh, and the ginger too. As a matter of fact, I think I'll put the ginger in now. And that was a teaspoon of grated fresh ginger. If you don't have fresh ginger, just use about 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. I've done that before. It works fine. You just have to make sure not to use too much. There's always an alternative. Just use what you have. Okay, let's get that back on. Not too much longer. This is really a fast dish. I'd say you can probably, there's probably 5 to 7 minutes to get the cauliflower rice done. But of course it depends upon how well done you like it. So if you like yours mushy, then by all means just cook it longer. It's totally up to you. It's sort of like millet. I like millet to be the texture of rice. Some people like it to be the texture of porridge. So we all have different texture likes and dislikes. Okay, you know what? I think this is probably going to be it. Give it one more stir. I want to taste it for salt. And you can see those nice bigger pieces of florets. They do kind of look like potatoes. That's what they remind me of when you eat them. Okay, yeah, I lost my spoon. Let's try this again. You know what? That doesn't need any more salt. It's just absolutely perfect the way it is. So let's plate this up. I'll show you how I made it for dinner the other night, and we'll go from there. Okay, we're all finished. We are ready to serve this meal. So I quickly made just a chopped up romaine salad. I had just a couple of plumellos left on our tree, so I used a few pieces of that. Fruit is really, give fruit the boot. We're not supposed to eat very much of it, but a couple pieces isn't gonna hurt you. I also have some slices of jicama. I have limes to serve with the rice. I am going to show you how I plate this, because I think it's sort of nice to have it all kind of compact and not spread out all over the plate. So I use one of these small little bowls. You can use anything that you have. I used to have a really cool one that had a pattern in it, and I don't know what happened to it. I looked for it, but I couldn't find it. So just push that in there and then invert it, and it comes out really nice for serving. Then to finish it off, we're going to put cilantro on everything. If you don't like cilantro, and a lot of people don't, there's 50% of us that have that weird gene that makes cilantro taste like soap. So if you don't like that, use mint or use green onions. That's a good option too. Usually I put green onions also, but I didn't do that today. We should have gone out to the garden to pick some because I have a ton of them. And now we have the toasted pine nuts. We're going to put those on top, and we're also going to put a little bit on the salad. Since we're not having any protein besides what's in the lettuce and the cauliflower, well, the veggies, we're going to have a extra little hit with the nuts. All right, that's it. Now all we need is a fork. Let me try this. Oh, I forgot one thing. I forgot to dress the salad. I've got a little bit of pomegranate syrup here. I don't usually use this, but I'm out of my Napa Valley balsamic vinegar. I have it ordered, so I'm going to use just a little bit of that. And this is some very nice olive oil we bought in Portugal last year. And I save it for the salads because it has such a wonderful flavor. Give myself a nice dose of that. And on the jicama. I like a lot on everything. Okay, now let's see how it turned out. That's really good, even if I do say so myself. Thanks again for coming by the kitchen. It was fun to make this for you, and please, if you made it this far into the video, please go down below and like and subscribe so that YouTube starts to like me and I can make more videos for you. Thanks again. Bye.